Hey everyone, just wanted to give you my personal review of the new Star Wars movie and kind of some of my thoughts and analyzation of the movie. Let me start off by saying if you haven't seen it, I won't give away any spoilers in this first part. I'll give you fair warning before I get into spoilers. So there's that. Um, Also, a little bit about me if you didn't know, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, have been ever since I was a kid. Um, My first Star Wars movie was Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Um, Absolutely loved everything about it, including Jar Jar Binks. And just the idea of Star Wars, I think, is really what has captured the imaginations of so many people. Lightsabers and blasters and cool starships and exploring the galaxy and fighting bad guys. It's just really cool stuff. So let's get into it. The movie, I absolutely loved it. Um, Everything I was expecting and hoping for, really good. I thought J.J. Abrams just nailed it. It was just really exciting to be able to go to the theater and see it and just be part of that experience. It's the first film um, where I've actually been able to go to the theater and see it, and that was just really cool for me as a fan. One of the things that I really liked about what J.J. Abrams did is he really went back to some of the methodology of George Lucas with the original trilogy, in that he didn't go all CGI like he could have, and he used instead a lot of practical effects and puppets and things like that, where they're filming this and it's actually there, and it's not something that there's a green screen behind them and there's a computer. There is a little bit of that, but it's very much real life, and it gives you that very authentic feel in the movie, which is very cool. One of the things I was worried about is that this movie would be like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek reboots, in that I felt like those were too much action and not enough story and development, and it was just go, 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 go. Um, and while there was a little bit of that, maybe a little more than I would have liked, um, it didn't kill the movie in any way, and it was still good, and he gave you those moments where you could slow down and think about this character, or whatever was going on. It kind of gave you those moments to kind of slow down and think about it, and that was good. As far as the cast goes, they were amazing. I was totally blown away. Both the returning cast from the original trilogy, like Harrison Ford as Han Solo and Carrie Fisher as Leia, they were great. I loved the way they he brought them into the movies, um, and then the new cast were awesome, better than I could have expected or imagined. Um, John Boyega as Finn, and Daisy Ridley as the main protagonist, Rey, and then Adam Driver as the as the Sith. They were all great. I was super excited about um, their performances. I loved kind of the interaction between Daisy Ridley and John Boyega's characters, kind of the back and forth and the tit for tat, very pithy and Star Wars esque. Very much kind of what you've come to expect from a Star Wars script in the originals. So I really liked the script, the writing, and the characters, and just how they fleshed them out. And how they developed them. There's a lot of development in this first movie, and there's going to be a lot more, and that was really cool. I was really excited about that. As far as even the music, it was great. If you don't know, it was written by John Williams, who composed all the Star Wars music for all the films, and this one didn't disappoint at all. Um, I'm looking forward to listening to the score by itself. But the score did exactly what it's supposed to do, which is enhance the movie, make it more exciting. It builds up those moments, and yet it doesn't completely take it over. And I thought John Williams did a masterful job with that. If you're a parent, or you have kids and you're wondering, should I take my kids to see this movie? Um, just kind of want to go over some of that. If your kids have seen the original trilogy, these are, as far as objectionable elements, these have pretty much the same things. There's no sex or nudity. There's some language. And if you're okay with what's in the original trilogy, you'll be okay with this. It's very minimal. Um, it is a lot more action packed, and there is a lot more violence. It is a little more visceral, and part of that is technology, and part of that is, it's 2015 versus 1977. So I would say, young children definitely not. There were lots of young kids in the theater, and that's that. Those parents' choices. I don't think that was necessarily a good idea, but I would say for a teenager that has already had some experience with the Star Wars universe, I don't necessarily think there would be any problem with them seeing this movie, as long as you're comfortable as a parent with that. So, as far as not giving away any spoilers, I loved this movie. It was great. I can't wait for more. So now let's get into it a little more. At this point, I will start talking about spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, do yourself a favor, pause the video, go on to something else. Don't ruin it for yourself. First of all, surprise, wow. Harrison Ford, Han Solo dies. I told one of my friends 3 months ago, who's my friend is also a big Star Wars fan. I told him I'm a little worried that Han and Chewie die in the new movie, and that was just a hunch that I had, and it turned out to be true. And I've seen some stuff online, people kind of upset or complaining about that, saying it was unnecessary or whatever. But I think it really worked well with the character development of Kylo Ren, because it really, you see him in the beginning and he, kills the villagers, but that's kind of what you expect from a Sith Lord. And then later on, you see him and he takes his mask off, and he talks about having this draw towards the light side, and you're kind of underwhelmed by his villainy. And then he kills Han Solo, and you're like, okay. So I think part of that was character development, and I think it was a really good thing. Obviously, it was very sad, definitely emotional, especially for a longtime fan. But I think it was a good character development move, and I wasn't upset, with J.J. Abrams at all because of that. As far as some of the other characters like Finn, it was kind of interesting to me how they brought him from being a stormtrooper to being part of the resistance, and kind of how he develops there. That's not something we've seen in another movie, is kind of a stormtrooper's perspective, and we get that very briefly in the very beginning of him losing his friend, and just how terrible this war is that he's involved in. So I thought that was really interesting. I really loved Rey, and I've heard some complaining. Well, she's never been trained, and she's doing all this crazy stuff. She's grabbing the lightsaber and using Jedi mind tricks. And let me just say, it's called The Force Awakens, and the Force is awakening in her. So I didn't have any problem with that. And again, part of Kylo Ren, Adam Driver's character, is he's obviously not a well-trained Sith. I mean, you look at his lightsaber, it sparks, and the blade isn't solid or strong. It looks fractured. Um, you look at his being pulled back toward the light. He doesn't seem very strong. Um, he can't use the Force to get the lightsaber back. When Daisy Ridley's also trying to get it, he can't even defeat her. And even later in the movie, it's mentioned that he has more training that he needs to do. Um, so I wasn't disappointed at all with the lightsaber duels, or with, oh well, she's overpowered and she shouldn't have these abilities yet, or he's so weak. I think they really balanced well, and I think as we have more movies, or whatever's next, I think that'll be fleshed out a little more, and I'm not worried about it at all. I will say probably one of the weak points of this movie is there's not a whole lot of originality. And part of that is, you have to bring in the old cast, and there's a lot of throwbacks, which, as Star Wars fans, we love. But at the same time, you're watching the movie and you're like, really, there's another Death Star and we have to blow it up again. But part of that is, J.J. Abrams really wanted to get it right, and he went back to kind of George Lucas's formula, if you will. And I don't think it's something that ruins the movie. Obviously, with the death of Han Solo and some other things that happened in the movie, I think there's enough originality and different storyline things going on, with Kylo Ren being Han's son, and things like that. There's enough where it doesn't feel like it's just a remake of another movie. And Starkiller Base is in the expanded universe, which, if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, don't worry about it, but it's there. So it's not like, he just conjured this new Death Star. It's something that's actually been talked about before. So I'm looking forward to, what's next. There's obviously a lot of questions, what's going on with the Republic? Why are they separate from the Resistance? How did the First Order arise? Who is this new Supreme Leader Snoke guy? Lots of questions, things we don't know. Again, I'm okay with that. I think they'll reveal those things as new films and new other things come out. Some of it might not even be in films. But I'm not worried about it at all. Another criticism I read some reviews online, and people talking about how some really hyped up characters like Captain Phasma didn't get hardly any screen time, and I think that goes along with it. I think characters like that will get some more development and more screen time as more movies come out. That's not a problem for me. The very last closing scene where Rey finally finds Mark Hamill, who is Luke Skywalker, and she holds out the lightsaber to him. I was really hoping that he would either just turn around and we'd just see his face and that would be the end, or that he would turn around, take the lightsaber, and ignite it and hold it in front of his face, and that would be the end. The ending wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it was good, and that's just kind of my personal feel. A couple seconds more, a couple seconds less would have been good, but it was fine. So in closing, I absolutely loved the movies again. Thought they were great. Obviously, I'm looking forward to what's next, and can't wait to find out more about Star Wars. So hope you found this review helpful. Let me know what you think. Talk to you later, guys.